It's a bright and sunny Tuesday evening. You're tuned to Invicta 98.9 FM. It's time for the Never Dull Moment program on radio, Ground Zero. My name is Ehis Admon, and today on the program Ground Zero, we will be bringing to fore something that is becoming a global phenomenon. That's talking about the International Day for the Girl Child. Yes, I know that so many people before now thought that the girl child is just another child. I'll tell you, the girl child is a special child in so many ways, and those ways we'll be looking at today on the program Ground Zero. Like you know, the program is one that's designed to bring up topical issues in the polity, and of course with guest and analyst and you, the listener, we try to look at these things from different angles and different perspectives, trying to have a clearer understanding of all of these. And today it's not going to be different, as we put before us the girl child, x-raying the girl child, celebrating the girl child, looking at the history and significance of the day of the girl child. And with me in the studio, I have members of the Coalition Kaduna Social Protection Accountability Coalition. Yes, that was mouthful. Okay, they'll be in the studio talking about the girl child, and we'll be looking at generally how this has come to stay, how the girl child has fared, how the girl child is treated today, and of course the future of the girl child, and how we can all contribute to make an all-inclusive environment for the girl child. With me already seated in the studio, I have Shola Ojo. He's the correspondent of the Sun newspaper and also a member of the coalition. Shola, you are welcome to Ground Zero.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Kajuna.
All right, and hoping that very soon Silas Spencer Ideva of the CareLink Resource Foundation will join us, and together we'll look at this issue. Now you, the listener, can be a part of the program by going to our various social media handles, starting from Facebook, which is Invicta FM Kaduna. Go to the Facebook page, Invicta FM Kaduna. You would see the posts in respect of the program, and of course you can watch the live video stream of what we are doing in the studio. You can also go to the program specific Twitter handle, that's Ground 0247, Ground 0247. That's the program specific Twitter handle, and also add your voice to the conversation, and together let's look at all of these. Now let's give a little background on what we'll be talking about and take it from there. The International Day of the Girl Child was declared by the United Nations to amplify the voices of the young girls around the world and increase awareness of issues faced by them. According to the United Nations, achieving gender equality and women's empowerment is an integral part. The International Day of the Girl Child is celebrated annually on October 11th. Looking at the history of the International Day of the Girl Child, in 1995 at the World Conference of Women in Beijing, the need for an event focused on young and vulnerable girls was identified. The initiative began as a non-government international plan of action to address the challenges faced by young women. A resolution to declare October 11 as International Day of the Girl Child was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on December 19, 2011. In 2020, this marked 25 years of the adoption of the Beijing Declaration. Significance of the International Day of the Girl Child 2021. Women and girls represents half of the world's population, and it is crucial to accelerate their development. The world needs to pledge to empower young girls and women and give them proper health care, skill-based learning facilities, and equal opportunities in the world free from gender-based violence and discriminations. The theme of the International Day of Girl Child 2021, it is celebrated for empowering and amplifying the voices of young girls around the world. the theme for International Day for this year is Digital Generation, Our Generation. Now, celebration of the International Day of the Girl Child 2021. The reason behind the celebration of this International Day of the Girl Child is to give proper education, health care, learning opportunities to young girls and women. They should be safe from gender-based violence and discrimination. According to the United Nations, girls are more likely to be cut off, pointing to a gender divide within the digital divide. It was also stated that girls are less likely than boys to be given devices, which affects their number in tech-related skills and job. This is a broad summary of it all. And here in Kaduna, it was celebrated today. And like I said earlier, the Kaduna State Social Protection Accountability Coalition had an event earlier in the day, and we'll be looking at bits and pieces of that. And even last week, there were several activities put together by different CSOs to also amplify the voices of the girl child and also looking at their education, inclusion, and all of that. We will be extracting all of that on the program today. And like I told you earlier, I said in the course of the program, Silas Spencer Ideva will be joining us. And indeed, he's already with us in the studio. Silas, you are welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you so much, the Peacemaker. I'm happy to be here with you.
All right, thank you, Silas. So let's start from Shola. Let's look at how the Kaduna State Social Protection Accountability Coalition celebrated, or is celebrating, because it's a continuous process throughout the week. I would say it's a week dedicated to the girl child. Shall I talk to us?
Yes, thank you very much, Ace. I'm happy to be a member of Kaduna Social Protection Accountability Coalition. A kind of coming up of people of interest.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is we have the media people in the media, seasoned journalists and seasoned civil societies groups in Kaduna State to come up to just see the possibility of how we can possibly ensure that no one is left behind, that everyone live a dignified life as a citizen of Kaduna State.
Okay.
The whole essence is just to identify those gaps and possibly bring them to the notice of stakeholders, especially the state government, to see what it can do to ameliorate the suffering of the poor and the vulnerable people in Kaduna State. Having said that, now let's link it to the commemoration of International Day for Girl. Let me start by saying trying to be a bit cautious, trying to be strategic, not necessarily adding child, because when you say girl, when you say boy. We don't have boy child, so let's not say girl child.
Okay.
So let's say boy and girl and move on.
Okay.
Now, the question that is possibly boggling in the mind of some listeners now is, why are the men the ones discussing the issues of girls? Of course, we are fathers, we are uncles, we are brothers, and we need to amplify the voice of our girls to make sure that we have a safe haven for them to grow to reach their full potentials in life. And in CASPAC, one of those things that concern us is we have come to realize that there's really need for us to having, the combination of media and society groups in the coalition. It will be a very good thing for us to come together to make sure that we bring these girls on board. We hear from them directly, apart from this idea of hearing from parents, teacher association, and possibly from government. We really want to listen to them. Because if we look at the theme for the year, it's talking about the digital generation and talking about their generation. That's the truth. That's the basic. That is where the world is now. Everything is digital now. Everything around us is digital. Everything is technology. So, and we cannot say we are moving, especially in Kaduna State that is a member of Open Government Partnership. Of course, technology is one of those key aspects that the platform is trying to see that the state government is not doing badly. And of course, you cannot achieve that without including the school children in your plan to make sure that you carry everyone along, because of course they will be here whether we like it or not. Nature will bring them to be leaders any moment from now, just like we say. So it's very important to us as CASPAC to make sure that we amplify their voice. We talk to them. We really hear directly from them instead of hearing from the secondary, sources. And that is exactly what we're trying to do today. We converge somewhere today with the support from the Save the Children International, and we have parents. We have some parents among us. We have students themselves. We have their teachers. We have civil society groups and other people of interest that matters. That we see that when we come together, we listen to these people. Then every one of us see where we think where we deem fit to come in to see the possibility of having a better world for our girls. And of course, that is the utmost. Like they're saying that the children where this particular group of girls we're talking about belong to are the purest of humanity. So we really need to give them that support to make sure that as they grow, nothing hinders. Their growth, especially to reach their full potential. Of course, in Kaduna State, we have good testimonies. Like I always tell people, I don't even know that this will be coming up today. Just 2-3 days ago, we were discussing, and I was like, I feel be worried. Why do you have more commissioners, female commissioners in Kaduna State for now? Maybe, possibly, Herufai started with a few of them and discovered that he was getting results. And fine, why won't he extend it? The result is what I always tell people. If you really want results, you get people that can do the job on the board, and then you move together and you win. And that is what the guy is trying to do. Nasir Herufai is by bringing more women to be commissioners, by bringing more women to be head of agencies. And some of us that are privileged to work with some of these women, and we see that they have the capability and capacity to deliver. And that is example that we are trying to preach to these younger ones, that they should not allow anything to deter them. Of course, there are barriers, which I know possibly this could discuss we reach. So let me not preempt the program ahead of time. When we get to that barrier, we'll discuss that and how we collectively come around it to make sure that we pave way for our girls to become full, to realize their full potentials in life, especially those that are privileged to be in Kaduna State.
All right. Thank you so much, Shola. Let me come to Silas now. The Pali, an event that was held earlier in the day, like Shola said, had girls present, teachers, some parents, and all of that. Give me your impression about the whole event today.
Today, I think I got emotional today. Let me start mentioning that. But before I go in, let me once again appreciate Save the Children for supporting us to have this program that we did today. And then the platform of the Kaduna Social Protection Coalition that has brought us all together as different civil society organizations intervene on this case. Caring Resource Foundation, my organization, is passionate about children, and then going down again about the welfare and the well-being of children that come up. Particularly, we focus on the human capital development. And when you talk of human capital development, you're talking of how you improve a person's capability so that as he grows up, he's able to contribute reasonably, economically, in an improved manner to benefit himself and the society. Today, in the course of our program, we highlight the importance of the girl child. And we had girls that came from 2 key schools, from Munagwarzo and what's it called? Quinamina. Thank you very much. Like I said I got emotional because when you hear the state at which these girls are schooling, I think you will be very moved. You'll be touched. Like my colleague was talking about earlier on, girl child, it's a very special gender. Not because they are more unique, but the peculiarities of how they live makes us also give special attention to them as a girl child. For example, when you go to the school, men don't menstruate. Girls menstruate. They need that comfort. They need the sanitary condition that enables them, that when this condition comes to them, they are well taken care of and they feel healthy and they're happy. But today, what we learned, most of these conditions in this school are deplorable. They don't have good condition. You see that we were told that during the heat season, the girls were talking to us that during the heat season, we are talking about an era of digital era right now. But to them, in the heat season, they find it very difficult to live. Their educational system is so compacted. They are not comfortable. They are not schooling in a very decent environment. And you begin to ask what kind of infrastructural arrangement the government has put in place. So it was so touching today. They school in a very difficult environment. They school with a lot of theoretical reasoning and imagination. When you're talking about science practical, they don't have those things to see, so that they can understand what they are being taught about. One of the teachers even told us that it touched her mind one day that she was talking about this litmus test. She kept teaching and talking about it.
And no litmus paper too.
It was, yes, and there was nothing to demonstrate it.
Yeah.
So, and this is a girl you are bringing up to see that tomorrow she is an educated person and she can lead the society in a way. And then you are teaching her a lot of things in theory in this era. In this generation, 21st century, I think we should go beyond that. Government needs to go close to these people. We're going to work with them to see that we'll bring their plight to the air. Let government be able to direct programs that can give these people a very good, conducive platform to school and meet with international standards and compete with their colleagues everywhere in the world.
So you are saying that the girls' sanitary hygiene goes a long way to help her concentration in school. And from the feedback you got, it is not where it should be. It is not close to where it should be for them at all. And there's a need for both government and other organizations to see how they can come in to help improve the female sanitary conditions so that, that's a head start and a way to go. And, also looking at some of the snippets coming from the United Nations and other parts of the world where they are talking about bridging the digital divide between boys and girls and the need for us to encourage or provide access for girls to have devices, because most often they're not from that brief from the United Nations. Most families in developing countries would rather provide devices and access to the boys, leaving the girls behind. And also from research, we have seen that it's that nature has made the world to have almost a 50-50 balance between boys and girls, and that the exclusion of girls, it's a big drawback for the world, because from examples, the girls contribute so much to the total development of the world. I recall that sometime last week or so, another CSO, the PEARL, Partnership to Learn,
Reform and Learn.
Engage,
Partnership to engage,
reform and learn.
Yes,
Brought together media personalities to look at blockages to girl education in Nigeria and how it can be improved. Shola, I'm sure you were part of that engagement.
Well,
Please give us a little brief about that particular engagement.
Yes, that particular engagement, it was focused strictly on education. Of
Yes.
And of course, we identify, there are a lot of barriers limiting these girls from reaching their potential when it comes to education, and talking about even the enrollment in the first place, talking about retainership, as in that's the ability to even remain
in school after enrollment.
Maybe to finish primary 6 or GSS 3 or SS3 and on like that. That is a critical issue. But we just limited these barriers to 5.
Okay.
Yes, we started with the issue of security. You agree with me in this part of the world today now, especially in Kaduna State, we have a challenge.
Yeah.
Around security. It's really what gives a lot of us sleepless nights. Because the implication that this will have on our children, especially the girls. Possibly, if you are living in a house, that a child have to trek about several kilometers to school, where you are not sure of the safety between
the house and the school.
Of course, you would rather prefer possibly your girl stay with you at home, and in the process of staying idle, a lot of things can happen, can develop another thing, teenage pregnancy, anything that is not good, can happen. And that is why I'm talking about security. Then again, we look at the issue of socio-cultural, barrier. This idea of fine is just normal. Once you're a girl, there's no point for me to send you to school. Your brother is what concerns me, because he's one that's going to carry on
the family name
later in life, and because of that, girl, no matter how brilliant, no matter how focused, no matter how determined, if that power is not there right from the parents, it's become difficult to get to proceed. They want to go to school. Then third, we look at the issue of this access now. Yes, we call it access to education, and that's talking about distance. But fine, now we are not looking at the possibility of how we can possibly have schools like within 3-kilometer radius.
Okay.
So that you not be too far from whether the north, from the west, from the south, from the east, depending on the area you live. So that is another critical point. The access, we look at how that can be shortened so that at least girls can have access. And not alone that, we are talking about good education. We are adding that word inclusive.
Okay.
Yes, because we still believe that there are other barriers. Like, fine, if you're a girl, it's a barrier on its own, as in, on a larger scale. But if you are disabled, it's like double jeopardy.
Double jeopardy, yeah.
So we're also looking at the possibility of government pushing these people into whatever plan they have when it comes to education reforms and financing in Kaduna State. And of course, that will be good for all of us because, of course, you don't want to play on those category of people because God will not even be happy with you. You will play with those people that are vulnerable. God will not be happy with you as their leader or aspirant. And that is one. So the fourth point that we try to look at the economy aspect of it. You know, sometimes parents will have situations that just because of maybe undeniable registration, the parents will say, no, I don't have to undeniable, I just come and stay at home. Or possibly, go and hawk. By the time you hawk, you make more money. Then possibly you can see the possibility of removing a
100 to enroll her. So she's virtually working for her own enrollment.
Supporting now children now carry the responsibility, the economic responsibility of homes. And that is not what it is expected because you have these children, you should be able to take care of them until they're able to fend for themselves. That is where you possibly want to say you want to relax as parents. It is your responsibility, any child that you have brought to the world, to make sure that you empower the child to be able to be independent. Then you can now say, fine, I've tried. Then let the child continue. So if you now look at it from that perspective of economics, you see that a lot of girls, simply because of that, they don't have the opportunity to be in classroom. And of course, the fifth point we'll try to look at is the aspect of infrastructure. And that is where Silas was trying to make a few points the other time. Talking about infrastructure in school. He made mention of something, but I was expecting the word toilet. As in, word toilet we mentioned.
Okay.
You know, sometimes these girls, they are not just children, so to say now. Some of them are already 13, 14, 15, 16. And they're already
experiencing their menstruation.
Yes, of course. And if they are within school premises, and they are sure that there's toilet that can help them, that there's water, as in hygiene, water and sanitation, water and hygiene, all these things, they come hand in hand. You cannot have toilet without good water. Expect that toilet to be well utilized. It will be wrong. So if you are building toilets without putting water there, you are only wasting your time. Because in no distance time, that facility will mess up and you will regret it. Now, again, if you now combine all these kind of things, where is the place of digital generation that these people are? Like some of those girls that were privileged to chat with today. They don't even have digital library. Some of them don't have access to digital devices, whether personal or school.
Let me hold your thought on that. Let's talk about that after these messages so that we'd have enough time to talk about this digital inclusiveness of the girl child.
It's okay.
You are listening to Ground Zero on Invicta 98.9 FM, and today on the program Ground Zero, we are dedicating it to the girl. And my guests on the program, I have Silas Ideva and Shola Ojo. We'll take these messages and we will be right back on the program Ground Zero. All right, welcome back from that commercial time out. You're listening to Ground Zero on Invicta 98.9 FM. And today on the program, we are looking at a girl child, but the girl who's also a child. And looking at how the world is treating the girl child, how, of course, we can make life a little bit better for the girl child. Before we took that commercial break, we were talking about the digital inclusiveness of the girl child, and Shola was handling that. Let's quickly have that, then we'll come to Silas and still get some.
Yes, I was about to make a very important point, a kind of recommendation, so to say now, to Kaduna State government. Based on my interaction with students, teachers, and SBMC, that is school-based management committees,
Yeah.
the parent teachers associations, and the rest of stakeholders when it comes to education in Kaduna State. I was made to understand the education now, as government said, it's free. It's absolutely free. They're not paying a dime.
Yeah.
And of course, when something is free, Nigeria, you should expect to see more people. And of course, because these things are now free, there is increments in the number of
enrollment. Yeah.
For powering the available facilities.
Okay, the facilities are stretched to limits now,
and that is the real issue.
Okay.
Of course, you see government will tell you they are building schools, they are renovating, but we need more than that. He mentioned a particular secondary school.
Yeah.
That is government gets secondary school. You see Awa Mamuna
Gwarzo.
You can imagine that kind of school where you still have over 100 people, students, in a classroom. In learning, that's what they call contacts.
Yeah.
That's between the teacher.
The teacher-student ratio.
UN said 40 students per class.
Maximum
of 40 students, so that the teacher will be able to check what this one is doing.
One-on-one interaction will be there.
In a situation whereby the students fill up everywhere in the classroom, the class teacher will not have the opportunity to stretch to see what the person that is sitting at the back side in the class is doing. Of course, learning is hardly taking place. What will be happening there is gist, and that's we talk. Its talk will now reflect when we're not having external examinations, because these children, they are not really learning the way they're supposed to learn.
Okay.
So now the government alone may not be able to do this, and that's why we're looking at the possibility of these governments looking inward to see where they can match line or bridge the gap with corporate organizations. Like for example, now of recent, we see what FRS, that is Federal Reference Service, did when they support Kaduna State Government Ministry of Materials and Ministry of Human Services and Social Development to have a place that you can keep children. That we need more of that in our schools.
Okay.
So that these overstretched facilities can be, the stress can be reduced. Now, I was talking about digitalization now. By now, we expect there shouldn't be any school in a state like Kaduna without fully digitized library.
Okay.
No, that is not befitting us as a state. Some of these public schools, they don't have digital library. In fact, some of them that have digital library, you are talking about archaic text. The technology that are now that you can equally refer to now as analog, because they are already out of use. So these are the areas that we expect the government interest in education sector in Kaduna State to see the possibility of coming together to support it. Because there's no how we can talk about digital generation, our generation, without making this group have access to these digital things we are talking about. And of course, it starts with the school library.
Yeah. Well, next one, I'll come to Silas now, and for him to give us what's the possible way out of this. I'd like to hear your angle before we open the phone lines for the listener to call in and make their contributions.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. The possible way out of this is for us to be realistic.
Okay.
Yes, I think when we look at, just like he has said, we are looking at corporate organization and the government that has made, like he said, when you say education is free, and there are people now going in to seek education, then you need to also enhance the environment for the conducive education so that they can be happy, to benefit from that education. Educating the girl child is very important. She's very fundamental in terms of family growth, in terms of societal growth, in terms of the upbringing of the child. So we cannot downplay this importance of the girl child education, especially in this era of technology that we're talking about. Everybody has to be technology compliant, like he has said. You have an academic institution whereby you don't have a digital library, or even having the basic minimum requirements in the library that have required books for study, the teachers to be able to enhance the education of that child, ensuring for those that are even in the boarding school, they have improved nutrition for them to eat, Because when you don't eat, you cannot also think very well to school. Understand? So it's very important. The way out of this for government to prioritize this, for the society to prioritize the role and the place of the girl child from the home. We don't need to say, no, my child is a girl and so she's not supposed to go to school. You are taking us back to the old generation. We've gone past that era. So the girl child, the boy child, like you were saying earlier on, everybody has the right to go to school. They have the right to access quality education. They have the right to access every digital information, have phones that they can use accessible to them. If it is their parents' phone, they can use that. If it is a library in the school. There was a time, my father reminds me, when we have MTN putting up this library in some selected school. What happened to that project? This project should be brought back. MTN and other...
That's advertising MTN, though. Let's communication network.
All right.
Well, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
So, I mean, what I meant to say that people can go and invest in the institution, you know, wherever you invest in this institution so that the people that school there can access facility, you know, as a part of your corporate social responsibility in the community. And before you know it, you have helped a girl or a boy or whoever is in the school that does not know anything about internet or any technology to improve himself or herself academically. So this is the way to go. And I think we need policies from government that can make this public-private partnership and key towards this improving education. And lest I forget also, we are talking about insurance scheme.
Okay.
It is very, very important for those in school to have a scheme by the government. I think there should be a special package for them, you know, especially for the girl child, that once you are enrolled, you have a package for you to benefit for improved health, you know, so that takes your worry away from when you are having stomach ache. You don't have to be sent back home, go to your parents to be treated. So if these facilities are there in school, I remember in our days we have what they call the sick bays.
Yeah.
And at the sick bay, you always have a nurse that attends to you, you know, that meets your immediate health concerns.
Yeah.
So we need to put all these ones in place. The guidance and counseling teachers in school need to wake up. You know, they are also a very key strategic personnel in the school. When you have a girl that has issue about reproductive health, she needs to go to the counselor to speak to her and educate her. All these are very fundamental, especially in this modern era, technological time, so that they can help enhance the education of the girl child.
All right. 081400989 and 07087800989 are the numbers that you can dial to add your voice to the conversation this evening. Let's see who our first caller is today. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Musabala.
We can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Not
Hello?
quite.
My name is Musabala. I can hear you very
Say
well
again?
from my phone.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine, and how are you?
My name is Musabala. I'm calling from Kaduna.
All right, Musa Bala. Yes, Musa Bala, let's have your take. Oh, the network is not quite friendly this evening. 081400989 and 07087800989 are the numbers to dial to add your voice to the conversation this evening. All right, while we wait for the calls to come in. Okay, let's see if we can have this on. Hello, good evening.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And how are you?
Thank you very much. Greet your guest in the studio. As I say, my name is Musabala. I had wished there's a girl child in the studio that will tell you details of what their experience is as far as Western education is concerned.
Yeah.
But my contribution is that I'm very sure the present administration, as expressed by your guests, they are trying their best to ensure that there is a rise in the quality of girl child education. It has to start somewhere. And I want to believe that the problem of education is all over Nigeria. Probably it has some limits or level from one state to another. There's no state today in Nigeria that is perfectly on digital education. We are transforming, we are moving gradually. I think they're making education free for girls in Kaduna State have not only improved or can bring more parents to send their children to school, but it has improved significantly in the acquisition of knowledge by girls in Kaduna State and other parts of the country. Gradually, we are going to make it higher. That is also my contribution. Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you so much, Musa Bala, for your contribution. 081400989 07087800989 are the numbers to dial. Meanwhile, also Francis Omaga Namani is giving us a thumbs up, saying that he's watching us live from Amagunza in Enugu State. Greetings from there. Okay, we also have Austin Joshua saying greetings from Jos Plateau State. Your good listener, Austin UJ. All right, Austin, thank you so much for watching. Would like other persons, if you are finding it difficult to call, you can also send a message to our Facebook page in respect of what we are discussing, how it resonates with you. Whatever contributions that you have, you can send it there and we'll definitely read it out. While waiting for other calls to come in, let's come back to the studio and talk some more in respect of our subject of discussion, which is the girl child.
Yes, very well. I heard him mentioning that we didn't bring
a girl
a
child.
girl here. Yes, let me say it is deliberate. Just like I said earlier. Earlier today we have good, like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Interaction with them, a lot of them, and of course all these issues that are brought up were brought up as in were the issues that they raised. So they talk about they don't have toilet in their schools, for example. That's what they said.
Yeah.
They talk about overcrowding classrooms. They talk about paucity of teachers. They talk about security, even security. Yes, that sometimes the bad boys invade their schools and coming around to harass them, even those in boarding schools. And can imagine.
Also the issue of nutrition, they don't have adequate nutrition.
Yeah.
Very vital.
Yes. A child will wake up in the morning simply because you're in boarding school, or you can give the child to eat is maybe all this flour, puff. Where's the issue of balanced diet? So these are just some of those issues. And don't forget that too, just like I said when we started the program, we are parents too.
Yeah.
We were once there as children, and we know how all these things that can limit what you can achieve, the heights you can attain in life, in your struggle as a child. Now the area of the concern is that of digital.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that he accepted true that the state government is doing its best, and possibly we have issues around education across the country. Of course, we are not condemning the state government. Just like I said earlier, we gave it to the state government a lot of reforms. In fact, for about 2, 3, 4 years now, Kaduna State government is spending more on education than any other sector in the state, and that's kudos. That's a government that really wants to really turn things around.
Yes.
But I'm not surprised because I remember on October 1, 2015, shortly a few months after the swearing in of the governor, he declared a state of emergency on education, and of course we all knew what followed. We see mass disengagement of teachers, recruitment, and on and on like that. And now we're talking about the building of classrooms, renovation of bad ones. The good thing is, I always tell people, a lot of things may not be brought to the knowledge of Mr. Governor, but those that he has appointed, whether as commissioners or as head of agencies. But we as civil society, but we as media, we need to let him see those things. We interfere with these people, and whatever they say, what we project as civil society and as media. And of course, among those issues that concern these girls is that they really want to go to school. In fact, the girls were so disturbed about their colleagues in rural areas and semi-urban settings. If they who are in Kaduna town are facing some of these challenges, what is the hope of girls at the grassroots? And that's our concern too. So for people that are hearing, what is the hope of those girls at the grassroots? So all of us just have to come together. We just have to ensure that as long as God gives us this breath, anywhere, whatever we can do
Yeah.
to make sure that we have our girls in school. You see, the issue of education is very important for any country that is ready to develop. That's just reality. If you look at the idea of about 13.5 million out of school children, go and check the number. I'm very, very sure that girls will be more than half. In Kaduna State alone, we have about 600,000 of this category of people out of school. What are you doing? What am I doing to make sure that we bring these children, including the girls, back to classrooms?
That is a big question that all of us must have to answer. What are we doing in our own little way to ensure that we will let the girl come back to the classroom and improve on our future? And I think I'd like to take some calls or contributions on commitments on the part of persons. So, Silas, what's your commitment, personal now, in respect of helping the child that's a girl to access education and live a better quality of life?
My personal commitment is to first, we need to even identify these girls. You know, we have, I'm trying to recall, there is this, a British Council report sometime, that was in 2015, that said over 130 million Nigerian girls are out of school.
Wow.
You know, so that sparked the kind of even a strategic plan for my organization that we were focusing on improving enrollment of the girl child in school. So first you have to go to the grassroots. You have to also try to change the behavior, the understanding of people about the fact that the girl, you should not just be restricted at our own woman responsibility at home. It is not, it's an old way of thinking. We don't have anything like that. Even the boy child can also do as well as what the girl child does at home. We are talking about equity now. So my commitment personally to see that we try to identify and sensitize communities, you know, to improve their knowledge on why the girl child should be put in school and be enrolled properly. And lest I forget, just to add on to what my colleague has said about why we don't have a girl child here in studio, is deliberate, like he said, and there is also a program that is going to bring them to speak about their issues directly. So we have just come here as feedback of our engagement with them, but that program is also going to come, I think, tomorrow or next. Yeah, so they will be speaking without anybody guiding them or directing them on what they are going to say. So we have that commitment for us. We have identified some schools as well from our own organization. You've asked me about my commitment. I've told you mine.
Yeah.
And from our organization, we also identify some public schools who we are going to be working with and advocate for improved infrastructure, for teaching environment, for teachers and every other thing.
Shola, your personal commitments.
Of course, that's it. Now, people that have been reading me, they know that anything that has to do with children, without discrimination, whether boy or girl, I don't play with it.
You're passionate about
yes,
it.
I go extra mile to make sure that just like I tried to say the other time, we have come to realize that many Nigerians are not really interested in government projects. That is the truth. Simply because those people that are close to governor, the top decision maker, you know, they don't sometimes tell the Mr. Governor the reality on ground. But we go extra mile to go and meet these people. We go to these communities to see things with our eyes, and we put them in such a report that once the report is published, Mr. Governor got alert, and sometimes, and just like I always tell people, sometimes we are not interested whether we know whether the action is being taken based on our report or not. The important thing is that we want to see Kaduna State that is progressing.
Yeah.
We want to see Kaduna State that is making progress. We want to continue to be proud, as in to be proud about Kaduna State when it comes to, okay, fine, talking about open government partnership, we are the first. Talking about budget, open budget contracting, we are leading. So, and of course, we've been seeing the gain of all these things over the years, and that's just my interest. The interest is not to bring anybody to distribute. No, we go to this grassroots, we see what happens there, then we bring this to the attention of people. You know, when you're talking about government, I always tell people, government, you and I, El-Rufai and his commissioners, we are all part of government. The only difference is that we are on the demand side. They are on the supply side. We make demand and they supply. That's where they are there. They are there to represent us. So when we have some of these things, we bring it to their attention so that they can act in such a way that all of us will move together as people of Kaduna State.
And that's about the size of the program today. I sincerely want to appreciate Shola Ojo, correspondent of the Sun newspaper. and of course Silas Deva from the CareLink Foundation, and also members of the Kaduna State Social Protection Accountability Coalition, not forgetting the Save the Child International, and of course the Partnership to Engage, Reform and Learn. They've been doing so much to empower people with skills and knowledge on how to handle these issues in our society. I want to thank you all for having time to be on the program today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. I am Ehis Admo. On Saturday from 4 to 5, God's willing, I will be here again for a fresh package of the program Ground Zero. Between now and then, I'll say, put a smile on a girl child's face today. They are the future of the world, because the quality of the girl child is the quality of the mothers and women that we have that will bring forth the next generation. Train a girl, you are training a nation. May God guide and bless us all.